So this book that I've read is called The Book of Five Rings, written by Miyamoto Musashi or Musashi Miyamoto, whichever whichever way it is. And this was a practical philosophy book because he like in theoretical philosophy, they don't tell you whether the subject is good or bad or their way of thinking is good or bad. They just tell you it. And in this one, while he did not say it was good or bad, he talked about how there are things that you must do. Things that have to be done, things ways that are better. So this was a practical philosophy. So what he was trying to, Musashi was trying to say in this is, it's a way of thinking and a way of doing that that you should harness if you want to learn the way. That's exactly what he called it, the way. And the way he meant, the way of fighting, basically, and fighting with weapons. So what, or if you don't know who Musashi is, he was a swordsman in, I'm not sure exactly what period, but if I remember correctly, around the 1600s. I'm not sure exactly when the exact date. I have 1649 in my head. I don't know why, but I got it in my head. So maybe 1649. And well, we could just go into the main message of the book. So the main message of this book was, whatever you do. So in his eyes, it was whichever weapon you choose. Well, he only thought there was one good weapon, but whichever one you choose is just do it well, and not only do it well, but learn the ways of the other weapons. So, pretty much since I only have a few things that I really do throughout the day, the things I do well are work out and read. So hey, I work out and I read well, and I guess I can broaden my horizons on some other things and set my eyes on other things that will also benefit me. Even though, I do read relatively well and I do work out relatively hard. And also, I guess you could say relatively well since my workouts are pretty efficient. But another message that Musashi was trying to convey, well, he did convey it, is whenever you're in high tense moments, that's when you should be relaxed the most. And when I think of high tense moments, I think my body's producing all of this norepinephrine, all these neurotransmitters, and I guess for normal people it might be hard to relax in those moments, but it might just be me and kind of the way I read and the way I do things. But I also seem to relax in high tense moments, at least the ones that I've had recently. In recent times I've been relatively calm. Yeah, especially yesterday. This is actually pretty coincidental. But while I was reading that part, I hit my toe extremely hard against the bed thing on the wall. I'm sorry, not the wall, on the ground. The bed stand, whatever that's called. And obviously for the first second, my animal instincts took over, and I said, "Ow." But then I just laughed it off, and because I was reading this book at the time, I laughed it off, and I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna pass away." But so far, it hasn't passed away. And this was about 24 hours ago. But hey, in a week, I think I'll be fine. So aside from that, aside from being calm and just being, or and just working hard, I should say, I feel like the last message that he was trying to convey is, just also be yourself in these times. Not even in these times, but just be yourself. Like, it's cool to, like, for instance, he talked about when different styles of foot styles, and he talks about how the famous ones at the time. I'm not sure. I know what they were called. It was like Leaping Frog. There were these Chinese names. So Leaping Frog and things. And he says he didn't like that. So he has his own. And that's kind of like, be yourself. And, it's kind of, I don't want to say ironic, but, humans, we like finding patterns in things. So, I like finding these patterns, and I'm pretty sure everyone does. Like if you read a philosophy or philosophical book, theoretical book of any kind, and then you try and mix it with your personal life, it brings you a little more pleasure, especially when you find out that you're doing it right. Like, hey, I'm working hard on my readings. Um, working hard on my workouts. Excelling in I'm basically excelling in those things, especially with my just everything. Basically everything I do, I'm excelling in it. So it's pretty cool to think about. But the thing about that is, it doesn't change who I am. And that's the thing about kind of success, really. Like, yeah, I've read over 100 books in in a relatively short time, in 2.5 months. But I still do the same thing everyone else does. Like, I still sit down and eat dinner with my brothers and family. I still take showers. you know, I, st- I'm pretty much the same as my brothers. The only thing is my mind is elevated, and that's what I love. It's kind of metaphysical in a sense, but I love. Well, it is. I love evolving what people can't see. Because if someone were to see me now, like, I don't know if they would think I would be the same person as I was a few months ago, but I know that I'm not. In the way that I just think different, and I feel like I act differently too. So, evolving yourself through, or evolving your mind in general is a really worthwhile thing in my opinion. It's very very worthwhile, and it'll bring you a lot of rewards. So this was kind of my, I don't want to say analysis. I still don't know what these are called, honestly. It's just me talking about the books that I read. So this was the Book of Five Rings.